how this deck works. It's not very good against combo decks, but against decks that are playing removal spells, this deck's fantastic.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're just trying to put some stuff on the table and hope that they're good enough eventually.
All right, this is Grixis Phoenix, so we'll get to it. Their opponents, Matt Borst on Eldrazi Post, Sam Lawrence on Amulet Titan, so some big mana here, and then Ben Bugalter on Mono Red. Some great deck choices here. Both teams already into day 2 at 7-1.
Right, and most of what we're going to see Eldrazi Post looking for in this particular matchup is just their Chalice on 1, turning off all of the cantrips from the Grixis Phoenix deck.
So preordained here from Ashton. Now Eldrazi Post, this is a deck, you see a fair amount of Ancient Tomb and Legacy. It tends to be good against the slower decks, right?
Right.
Stoneblade is going to be a good matchup. How is this going to work? Because I guess Grixis Phoenix is a slow deck at some point.
Right, so in a lot of cases, it's going to come down to those prison elements. I mentioned Chalice of the Void before. That's pretty good when your opponent is planning to cast a lot of non-creature spells. We have that, then there's Thorn of Amethyst out of the board. Yeah. Those types of effects are just going to punish most of Ashton's plays. And
since this is Post, a card I'm looking for out of him is CC Chalice of the Void, attempted on 1, is one of his 3 copies of Trinisphere. Getting an Arclight Phoenix out of the graveyard through an onboard Trinisphere seems like it would take 9 mana.
Well, so it's complicated. You can Dark Ritual, stay with me.
Okay.
And then Dark Ritual with that 3 black, and then use the 3 black for a Buried Alive.
We did it.
Yeah.
All right, 3 spells.
Yeah,
easy.
Easy is complicated.
That's the kind of thing where you have your friend who plays Grixis Phoenix, and you say, "Man, I think Trinisphere would be good against you," and they'd be like, "No, it's just easy. I just double Ritual Buried Alive. It's fine. I got it."
Listen. My deck can have these draws, so that means that's how we beat it. We always have these draws. Okay.
Yeah, I beat it all the time. My deck's good against Trinisphere. Vesuva, we're on a Eldrazi Temple. 3 of them. We're going to see Matter Reshaper from Borst. So the Eldrazi Post deck ramps up to 2 copies of Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. And that's about it. Otherwise, we're seeing the same things you'd see, Endbringer, Matter Reshaper, Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher.
Hey now, Walking Ballista is castable. These Eldrazi Temples aren't really doing it justice, right? But they are castable.
Yeah. So, okay, Chalice on 1 has been played, though, from Borst. And generally against these Grixis decks, the Chalice on 1 does a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's a really big deal. See, a lot of the things that this Phoenix deck is trying to do are Dark Ritual, Cabal Therapy. You have the usual suspects from the blue decks, the Ponder Preordained Brainstorm package, because this is kind of a combo deck. Thoughtseize, Bolt, just a ton of cards that this is going to shut off. The way that the Phoenix decks tend to operate is playing all these cards that ultimately don't do anything but replace themselves. That cantrip lineup that I just explained, for example, are all cards where you cast a Ponder and you draw a Preordain, and you Preordain and draw a Brainstorm, and you Brainstorm for some more cantrips, and you haven't done anything, but if you have Phoenixes in the graveyard, they come back, and that's what you get for spending all this mana. But these cards don't replace themselves and actually cost a resource now with this Chalice on the battlefield.
All right, Young Pyromancer the play for Ashton. Now, because this is not a Trinisphere, it's a Chalice of the Void, if he can get some Phoenixes into the graveyard, actually getting his spells countered, they still count toward Arclight Phoenix.
Well, they count. That's a good word for it. As in they literally count 1, 2, 3 spells.
Yes. Yeah, if you have Phoenixes in the graveyard, you can just throw 3 things into the Chalice. And we see that Ashton's already doing that here as he used a Thoughtseize just to make a 1/1.
Yeah, at this point, Ashton knows that he's cold to it in the main deck, so he's just playing cards. He also has Tombstalkers that this can fuel.
Yeah, there's nothing like a Kolaghan's Command or anything that can remove an artifact in the main.
No, with something like this, when you play Buried Alive and Arclight Phoenix, you know you're giving up these versatile cards like Kolaghan's Command in order to fit your broken synergies in the deck.
Endbringer, the play from Borst. Ancient Tomb as well. That's up to 8 mana. Now 1 more land like this away from Ulamog. And he'll make Walking Ballista on 1. Takes care of the Young Pyromancer.
Does this count as ramping if it's Endbringer? That's 6 off 3 lands. That's got to count as some ramp.
Didn't even swing with the Matter Shaper.
Listen, I understand there's 4 lands and a 6 drop, but you got to get the Primeval Titans out of your head, Matthias. This is an intervention.
Ashton is going to pick up the cards. See, if you're casting 6 drops with 3 lands, I'm into it.
Yeah, see, it won on the spot. This is basically...
It's the colorless Primeval Titan?
Well, no, not everything's a Primeval Titan, Matthias. This is...
You resolve your 6-mana card, and then you win.
There are people here that love you. You have a problem.
Look, this is... You find the biggest card you can cast, and then the game is, can you cast it?
Well, that's not the biggest card he can cast. He has Nulamogs in there.
On a related note, I think Tooth and Nail is a pretty cool Magic card, too.
You know what? I know. You could have said, Emma, what do you think my opinion of Tooth and Nail is? And I would have basically said that spot on. We know. It's a big green spell. You like it, Matthias.
Well, there's a lot of cool things you can Tooth and Nail for.
2 things.
Most of them win.
2 things is what you can Tooth and Nail for.
Game 1 goes to Matt Borst with Eldrazi Post. And a strong Game 1 at that. Now, based on how that played, he likely thinks he's against, I would think, a Grixis control deck.
Yeah,
right?
So that looked fairly typical, all things considered, right? Well, the Lotus Petal may have been a tip-off there.
Yeah.
That one does make it a little weirder, and now it's a strange spot since this Phoenix deck is so new. You might just think that there's something weird going on with these Lotus Petals.
So what he saw? He saw Lotus Petal, Thoughtseize, Young Pyromancer, right?
And Brainstorm.
And Brainstorm. So if the Pyromancer wasn't there, you might think you're against Storm.
Exactly, and there are several decks that this deck almost looks like. So at this point, Borst is maybe in the dark, not quite knowing what he's playing against, but
yeah.
The Phoenix decks have been showing up a good bit on Magic Online, at least just people messing around with them and having fun. So it's something that's probably in the back of his head going, no. Okay, I think it's this.
Yeah. So if you're on Borst's side, it's maybe Control, maybe Arclight, maybe Storm. How do you sideboard this?
So the biggest thing that I'm looking at in this case is those Thorn of Amethyst. So
right.
If I see Lotus Petal and Young Pyromancer, I know my opponent is very interested in casting a lot of spells.
Right, that's probably safe.
Exactly. So playing a card that makes it harder for them to cast a bunch of spells is exactly where you want to be.
That makes sense. Now, it's the kind of thing, if you knew what he was up against, Fairy Macabre would be a good card to sideboard in.
Fairy Macabre is fairly nice against the Arclight Phoenixes. A lot of the rest of your plan is kind of dedicated to turning off the Phoenix turns, so it's hard to say if he wants the Fairy Macabres at that point, because if Ashton's at the point where we have these Arclight Phoenixes online, then it's likely the rest of your deck has kind of failed.
Yeah, well, I'm actually interested. So the Grixis Phoenix decks can have some very fast starts. Something like land, ritual, buried alive.
Right.
Okay. Fairy Macabre is going to be what you want here, right? That'll stop it. Now, based on what he's seen, can Borst honestly sideboard these in?
Yeah, so at this point, if I'm on Borst's side of the table, we saw Lotus Petal, but without seeing Dark Ritual,
right.
I'm a little more hesitant to go in that deep. I may be thinking that they have these Phoenixes, but it might just be something like Faithless Looting or Thought Scour that might be dumping them. This looks like a pretty value-oriented deck at first. So I'm unsure if I necessarily want to be going all in on these Fairy Macabres, but if there are a lot of cards that Borst is interested in cutting from his deck, Walking Bliss is fine here, but not particularly exciting.
Yeah.
Karn, Scion of Urza, is probably a little bit mopey. This probably isn't an Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger matchup where you need to go super far over the top.
Yeah.
Caracas isn't doing a whole lot. There are a lot of things that you can probably just look to sideboard out, and if he has enough of those tools, you're not just bringing in 3 Thorn of Amethyst if you want to cut 5 cards. Fairy Macabre is a fine card to bringing in here.
All right, SCG Regionals is coming up in just over a month, March 9th, Season 1 Regionals, and they are going to be modern. So what this is our regional championships. Those happen all around the country. You see, we have 12 different regionals. You can find the nearest one at starcitygames.com/regionals. These are the announced locations so far. They might ask what you're playing for at Star City Games Regionals, the regional championships. Well, first of all, the top 8 all get invites to the Invitational. That's going to be in June at SCGCon. On top of that, SCG points. It's another way to get those buys if you're planning on playing the tour.
Yeah, these are some of my favorite events to play in because, you know, between you and me, they're a little bit softer than something like an Open, so they're great for farming points to make it easier to succeed at Opens if you want those buys. And then it also, since they are fairly regional, you get to see all the local faces that are kind of from, you know, no pun intended, in your region. In about a 3 or 4 hour circle, you get some of the other people who are about on the higher skill level like you are, but you're playing for a little bit less, and they're all over the country, so you're way more likely to succeed at these events.
Yeah. Now, giving away at the tournaments, we have an exclusive token for SCG Regionals. That is going to be the most recent invitational winner, Andrew Jessup. You get the Monarch token here. On top of that, the 4/4 Flying Angel token, which is the Great Godspeed, which is the featured art of the playmat given away to the first 200 players at each location. A lot of locations are pre-registering for those spots, so be sure to check in with your local regionals. That's starcitygames.com/regional.
I love that token and that playmat so much. That artwork is just gorgeous.
Game 2, we have Ashton on the play. Now, his deck is not a Wasteland deck, is it? I don't believe so.
No.
Okay. That's going to be tough here. It's one of the things, you know, one of the reasons why you don't see more Eldrazi Post style decks in Legacy is the card Wasteland.
Yeah, you can just crumble to it sometimes. You know, you lead on a City of Traders and Wasteland yourself to play this Chalice. But then if you start developing out from there, you can get Wastelanded out after Wastelanding yourself in order to enable this Prison card that is so much better on the first turn.
And because of that, Eldrazi Post just gets to do its own thing. And Ashton has to... I think he really needs some fast draws. Because the colorless decks are so consistent at doing something powerful on about turn 2 onward.
Exactly. They just have a ton of what a lot of people shorthand to soul lands because they're similar to Soul Ring in that they all tap for 2 colorless.
Right.
But that lets them have turn 2 Thought Knot Seer pretty frequently. We see Clad Post coming down, which very often, it's never one Locust, right?
Right. They have, you know, he has the 4 Cloud Post, 4 Glimmer Post, 3 Vesuva.
Exactly. There's a reason this is the namesake in the deck. This card frequently ends up tapping for 3 and 4 mana.
And you see at the front of Matt's hand, he's got a copy of Trinisphere. You can count on the deck having 3 mana on turn 2. It'd be pretty unusual for him to lead on Cloud Post if he didn't have something like Glimmer Post to go with it.
Exactly. You also just don't make it this deep into a tournament without aggressively mulliganing to those prison-heavy hands when you know they're important. And when you see someone play a Lotus Petal in the first game as well as Young Pyromancer, you know that you need to do something that makes it less likely they have these cards online.
Yeah, Trinisphere should be good against just about anything they're doing. But now we'll see whether or not Tommy Ashton can do his own fast start. And we see Dark Ritual, Buried Alive. This was the draw I was talking about.
It would have beat Trinisphere, though.
This one would have beat the Trinisphere. I beat it all the time. It's fine.
We talked about this, Matthias.
All right, so here's how this works. Buried Alive, search your library for up to 3 creatures, place them in your graveyard. He's going to pick some copies of Arclight Phoenix, and he's played 3 spells this turn, as you can see. So when he goes to combat, those Arclight Phoenix will come out of the graveyard. 3 copies of the 3/2 haste.
Wait,
actually, that's a Young Pyromancer, isn't it?
That's an interesting hedge.
So this is Surgical Extraction?
Some respect to Surgical Extraction here. The
Wow.
thought being that the clock between the 2 is not different enough for this to matter.
That's
but
really
it
neat.
Does protect you a little bit there if he doesn't want to be drawing more copies of Young Pyromancer, or if he just has 2 Arclight Phoenixes in hand.
And then he makes Goblin Cratermaker with 1 mana floating. So Goblin Cratermaker, 2/2 here for 2. The ability we're going to care about is 1 sacrifice, destroy target colorless non-land permanent.
Oh, is that good here?
I think that'll be okay.
Yeah? All right, makes sense.
2 Arclight Phoenixes attack for 6. Matt is down to 14. These are the kind of fast starts that will really compete in this matchup.
Yeah, and here there's a lot of emphasis on the fact that Ashton was on the play and just kind of got to play his spells while Borst just had a tap land.
gains 2 life off Glimmer Post, casts the Trinisphere, but as we already confirmed, Grixis beats Trinisphere all the time. So Tommy's just gonna keep on going.
Listen, what's a Trinisphere to someone like Ashton? Can you please remind me?
Card's not even good in the matchup. Let's see a swing in for 8. That's half the life total, Matt, down to 8.
Yeah, this is the clock, right? Oh, the other 2 Arclight Phoenixes hanging out in hand.
That's why. Oh, wow.
Here we were thinking it was a hedge this whole time.
Right, well, you can't hedge if you have them in hand, right? He surgicals them and sees the other 2 in hand.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I still lose all of them. Cratermaker will take care of the Trinisphere. I was actually a little surprised.
It will make a crater out of it.
A little surprised to see Ashton go for that play as he had 8 power.
So the thought here is if he can just cast another Arclight Phoenix or do something that enables these other 2 Arclight Phoenixes next turn, who cares?
Sure.
So if you're just digging for some sort of counterspell in order to protect these or just more lands, you can cast more of them.
Another Cloud Post for Matt. Thought Not Seer sees 2 more Arclight Phoenix. So
the jig is up.
Land off the top is lethal here. Ashton's going to draw for it. And there we go. 4th land. Phoenix has haste. I don't believe being tapped out that Matt has any plays.
You know what time it is? Time for game 3.
He's going to make him... Maybe Tommy doesn't see the line.
All right.
All right.
You mean to tell me he can find these Trinisphere lines and won't attack with 3 creatures?
Oh, he did it. Swing for 9. We're on to game 3.
Beat Trinisphere all the time.
It's easy.
Yeah, you just play your spells. Who cares?
Yeah. 1-1 now. And looking at the way those games go, I'm glad, I'm glad we got to see Tommy's deck doing something pretty broken there. It still feels like a lot has to come together for him.
Yeah, so there are a lot of cards that have to do something in order for that to come together. But on the other hand, let's think about it this way. Those are the explosive draws. What about the draw where Ashton just goes, say, turn 1, cantrip, or something to that effect. Turn 2, cantrip, Dark Ritual Buried Alive. That doesn't seem nearly as trying.
I mean, even if we take that game, switch who's on the play, it's a tough one for Tommy to win.
Oh, absolutely. At that point, is it that tough? Tommy just needs to hit that land.
The Trinisphere would come down on turn 2.
Right.
Then Tommy would have to play a second land and pass?
Yes.
Then Thought Knot would come down.
You're right. Thought Knot does break that up by a lot. Thought Knot does a lot. Turns out Thoughtseize stapled to a 4/4 is stapled to a 4/4 for 2.
Pushed. Yeah. When they cost 2 lands worth of mana.
It's very nice. It's the Wombo combo. You have turn 2 Trinisphere and then find a way to tap 2 lands for a spell anyway.
We do have another match. Ben Bugalter on Mono Red Aggro takes the first game. And I actually want to back up on that. We've seen almost no Mono Red this weekend because, a lot of hype for the tournament with Light Up the Stage, Skewer the Critics, didn't really live up to it last weekend in Indianapolis. But one thing I can say about the Mono Red deck, it's pretty good against Azorius.
Right, exactly. And we see the Mono White list here, the Azorius list here, not doing a whole lot to respect the burn deck. Adonta Vanguard, pretty embarrassing. That is a 2-mana 1/1.
Yeah, it seemed like the downside from last weekend is that Mono Red has an unfavorable matchup against both Sultai and Esper, which from this weekend is kind of a non-starter, right? You need to be able to beat one of the 2.
Exactly.
But, Ben has made it work here in the team event, and because of that, when he gets to hit matchups like this, he's got a great list.
Yeah, this is the level 3 deck, right, where the white deck is the thing that tends to match up well against the Drowned Catacomb decks. And then this is the thing that matches up against the white decks. And those are the types of things that you can really think about and capitalize on in these team tournaments because you can rely on your teammates to help you get through the early rounds where you're playing against the level 1 deck. And then you make it to these later rounds where you play against people who were prepared for what you needed to beat. And then you get to kick their teeth in.
I almost want to go back and say Mono Red is still level 1 and Ben's just hanging out on level 1.
Wow.
Right. Level 1's Mono Red. Level 2 is Esper and Sultai.
Right.
Level 3 is Azorius, and Ben's
hanging out on level 4.
Which is the same as 1. It circles back
4
around.
and 1 are not the same. I know you're better at numbers than
It's
me,
just
but do
mod
not
3.
lie about this. Mod 3?
Yeah.
This isn't a computer game. There aren't mods here.
Yeah, they're just the same. It's just a circle.
Don't try to
It's a
prove it on
circle.
paper. Don't you do this
Look,
right now.
look.
The camera's not even on us.
We're
They're
adding
not
an
gonna
extra
see the
line
joke.
to the equals sign, okay?
What? Which direction?
No, there's just 3 of them.
Like, are they all parallel?
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
It means they're it's a congruency.
Nuh-uh.
Well, the top one's supposed to be a little squiggly, but no one actually does that because that just takes too much work.
All right. So now this is sounding more made up by the minute.
No, that's a big guarantee. This is all legit. But you got to put parentheses afterwards saying that it's mod 3. Otherwise, no one will know. But you can leave off the parentheses. It's fine.
Nuh-uh.
All right, Matt is going to mulligan into 6. Eldrazi deck is one of these decks, as a lot of the non-brainstorm decks are in Legacy, that you kind of have to mulligan to something that pops. You know?
And this deck mulligans pretty well, right? Rather than
Sure.
actually trying to take the card advantage route, it uses things like Chalice of the Void to get a sort of virtual card advantage, where rather than actually making them discard all these cards, it just renders a ton of them useless. I'm so mad I'm going to have people tweeting math at me, and it's going to be your fault.
It's so nice. You know, to tweet the congruence, you have to have a typesetter.
No, Matthias, I don't even know if that's a real thing. How would I know you need a typesetter for that?
There's no congruence button on the keyboard. It's just the equals, right?
Can we just talk about the fact that Borst is going
It's okay,
to
there's
5
programs
or
that do
something
this. They're
magic
nice.
related? I have 5 fingers. These are numbers I can wrap my head around and my
He's going to
hand
5.
around. This is a pun.
Around 5 fingers?
Yeah.
You can wrap your hand around your hand? That's a cool math thing, too. That's getting all recursive.
It's a cool party trick. I just put one fist in the other one, and people get real
I thought it was the
surprised.
same. I thought it was the same hand. You're wrapping it around itself.
That is not my kind of party.
Right? That's like one of those philosophy things.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, that's the one where it's... Oh, that's like that party in The Matrix where people were bending spoons with their mind and stuff. Yeah. It was the weird party. Yeah, no, that's not my kind of party. I don't go to parties where someone demands I call them the Oracle.
No, she just is the Oracle.
Yeah, I'm sure. I buy that.
I think she was the chaperone of the party anyway.
No, she was the Oracle. Weren't you listening?
Well, he's got a lot of different jobs.
Multi-talented. She's the baker, the Oracle, the chaperone, the whole 9.
Cloud post turn 1 from Matt, keeping on 5.
Yeah, this is the spot where he really wanted to have some turn 1 action, but at 5, if you have something even remotely functional, you're probably priced into keeping.
You have a cloud post on turn 1. You know, there are turn 2 Trinisphere might just work.
Nuh-uh.
It's not. It doesn't take many cards to put it together. Sorry, not Trinisphere, because Trinisphere doesn't.
Yeah,
doesn't do
Trinisphere
anything.
doesn't do it. We saw it.
Right. Something else. Well, we'll see Cabal Therapy. What does Ashton name it? On a 4-card hand, it's just discard is so rude.
Let's see if Ashton's a good therapist. Ooh.
So Thespian
There's
Stage,
that Macabre.
Karn, Grim Monolith, Fairy Macabre. Well, we are set up for a turn 3 Karn on Matt Borst's side.
Yeah, and if we rip a Cloud Post or another Soul Land, we can turn 2 the Karn.
Urborg to pick up. Now, the difficulty on Matt's side will be that both players know that's his only payoff, and Cabal Therapy does flash back, so he has to dodge a turn here.
Right.
See if he can do it. Ashton leads on Preordain.
Dig and dig and dig and dig.
Dig. Oh, that's such a good movie.
Thanks. I like Disney a lot. I'm wearing Stitch socks.
I was in that age where The Lion King was just awesome, so then we all really wanted to like that movie. We wanted to like Pocahontas, but it just, it wasn't there.
What? What do you mean? What?
No,
you know what? Never
it's
mind.
not Lion
We're
King.
not talking about
It's not.
Disney on a live mic, Matthias. I will get heated. I will get heated. Don't you do this to us?
I do like that the tree sings a song.
We have,
That's
Don't
a nice
you do this
part.
to us. You're just like, we're not doing this.
The tree's name's Willow, which makes sense, really.
That is true.
2 preordains from Ashton. No discard spell, though, so Matt looks like he'll get to untap with this Karn, which can do some work here, to
Yeah,
be
that's
honest.
pretty strong. You just Karn minus.
Start making some... Oh, I hope so. I hear those are good tokens. I haven't seen one of them in a while.
Oh my god, they have math on them.
Yeah,
They're
it's
the
a math. It's a
worst.
math robot.
Oh my god, we're never going to escape.
Here's Karn. Off Ancient Tomb. Well, not yet. First plus will show Dismember and Eldrazi Temple.
Which member?
That one. The lower one, the shinier of the two.
Are you really just going to leave it hanging like that? I feel
Oh,
like I
wow.
went to high-five you and you looked at me, held eye contact, and kept walking.
It's like if you high five someone and then they shake your hand. You know, you hold that out and they're just like, yeah.
You say someone, but your enthusiasm with this tells me you're remembering something you have done.
I don't think I've done it, but I definitely want to. Brainstorm from Ashton. He's got to put together something strong here. I don't know. He's on a 7-card hand, but he can't really answer Karn, and he can't set up an Arclight draw very easily because Fairy Macabre's in Matt's hand.
So the thing here is you just need to make several Arclight Phoenixes.
Okay.
Like more than 2 of them.
Right, because it's,
And
you know.
that's what plays through the Fairy Macabre. Getting back one
But
is
several's
not...
5. Because, right, I mean a few Arclight Phoenix.
We're back to the math things, man. That's not...
That was the caveman math.
I couldn't do that either. It's been 2 hours. Did you forget? That is way above me.
But right, so how does the Ashton actually get back from this, right? So Karn's going to keep activating every turn. That's going to be a problem.
Right, so the biggest thing that Ashton is looking to do here is maybe just hard cast Phoenix and attack Karn. That's something that can do it. That kind of forces Karn to roll down, pick up this Dismember, and use it as a removal spell. There's also the chance that Borst just hard casts Fairy Macabre via Urborg to block it.
I guess his clean answer, he does have Goblin Crater Maker as a clean answer for it.
Technically, yes, that is an answer. It's something that you really don't want to be using in a spot like that because you want it to check those prison cards that'll just lock you out of a game. But this is a point where things are starting to look like they might get ugly.
Yeah, Ashton finds a Dark Ritual off Ponder. Decides that's worth keeping. And we need to back up here. Hold on. That's he can't cast that. So we're going to pause the game. That's a volcanic island. We can't actually thought seize off that. So we are going to pause them. Oh, wait, there's an Urborg? Oh, my gosh. Oh,
Here
I'm so bad.
Trying to talk about
I'm
the
so
Urborg
bad.
in play.
Oh, wow. Too strong. Fairy Macabre used in response. And that's actually a way to bait out. Yeah, that's how you.
This is the window.
And then here's Dark Ritual, and here's Buried Alive. So this is how you make art like Venus's into the Fairy Macabre. This is actually going to work.
It's time for Karn to meet the graveyard.
Yeah. 3 Arclight Phoenix. And they're having 3 spells. We see Thoughtseize, Dark Ritual, and Buried Alive.
There have been a lot of spells this turn. A couple cantrips. All kinds of great stuff.
3 Arclights in play. We'll see. Actually, Ashton's just going to ignore Karn. He goes all upstairs. It is a 2-turn clock. Borst down to 9.
Yeah, you can't just get back Dismember here.
His hand all lands. He will plus the Karn again. Walking Ballista and Fairy Macabre.
Well,
it's a blocker. Okay. Both these actually play.
Yeah, we take both of those. That's the out. You know, you roll up the Karn looking for an out, and you always just kind of go, well, gotta get lucky anyway. And these are those spots.
Yeah, it keeps Matt alive. Now, he's still got a ways to go. Fairy Macabre is the card that was given, so ballistas under Karn now.
And at this point, Ashton could also just have a removal spell, a burn spell. If I
Right.
remember correctly, Ashton has a Snuff Out hiding out in his hand. Oh, that's non-black creature.
Non-black.
Oh, it's non-black creature. What a game.
2/2 flyer. Gonna buy Matt a turn, maybe. There's Very Macabre.
The greatest of
Ready,
all blockers.
ready for duty. All right.
Are you ready for that top deck Arclight Phoenix?
Ashton needing to get this one. Both his teammates currently down games. A win here would be big. He doesn't have a way to swing through immediately here.
The funny thing about that Brainstorm in hand,
So it can be
Brainstorm
anything.
just makes your hand so changeable.
Yeah. It's interesting. He can brainstorm to look for an answer. At the same time, he could attack and just trade and send Matt down to 3. Brainstorm could get back Phoenixes in the future. You know, there's not... He doesn't have to try to win this turn when next turn's looking good.
Exactly. This is a spot where you can just be safe, be cautious, right? You have the inevitability here.
And that's exactly what he does. Matt is now down to 3. Draws again. More. Hand is all mana. So he has to do some calculation. Is this Walking Ballista enough?
Oh, this is a big ballista. Here the out is just effectively hoping that Ashton has or doesn't have enough spells.
Yeah, so it's for 8. Looks like a Walking Ballista for 4. It will remove both Phoenix.
All right, that's close.
And he says go. Back to Ashton.
I believe Ashton just wins from here.
Well,
You snuff out the ballista and then cast 2 more spells.
yeah, he's going to start with Brainstorm.
Oh wait, is snuff out Terror or Doomblade?
Ooh, it's...
This is tough.
Non-black, just non-black.
All right.
So Snuff Out can work here.
Shaking his
Well,
hand,
I
so it's possible he's a spell off here?
Well, actually, there's already an Arclight in the graveyard, right? So all he just needs is 3 spells, no matter what they are. It's a 3rd attacker.
Oh yeah, but like, why wouldn't you just run backwards through the end zone?
I always like that about... Yeah, it's just like...
You're not playing...
no.
Arclight Phoenixes are here for style.
The thing I always do is you always stop 1 yard before the end zone and then make the other person come tackle you. And then they're almost there, then you step in. That's the strat. You ever played video game, like video game football?
Can you believe I like you?
Look, it's if they want to let the clock keep running, that's fine. Okay, they need to get that player
I
and
just
run
wanna
across the
play
field.
as much football as possible.
Look, I had a really good play. This play is super fun. Let's keep... I don't want to end this play.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Here, Ashton, just being super careful, knowing every win counts, especially when your team's down.
You know, every second matters. And attacks with the 2 Phoenix. Post Brainstorm. Ballista will shoot down 1 Phoenix, and then he'll shoot down the second one. Borst looks like he's going to get another turn. Work to do. Here's Goblin Crater Maker. Crater Maker blows up Karn. That was that clean answer.
Well, Crater has been made. It's Ulamog time.
That would do some work. I think it's land time.
It's Cloud Post time.
It's Cloud Post time. Matt is still in the game.
Ayavukin in hand is getting close to a reality.
Well, right, he can... I mean, it'll happen 2 turns away. You can untap the Monolith and then retap it.
Exactly. You could you also could just copy a Cloud Post with your Thespian stage.
Arclight Phoenix out of hand from Ashton, and there's the ending. So, Tommy Ashton, 2-1 is your winner here, which means he's going to need some help. Ben Nikolich and Tim Wu both down a game in their respective matches.
Right, and we just saw Borst getting a little bit mana flooded, having some rough mulligans, but at the end of the day, an endless stream of 3/2s is an endless stream of 3/2s, and it's going to be good enough.
Yeah, that one off the top. Borst's deck hung on there for a bit more than I expected it to.
Yeah, I mean, Walking Ballista is a very strong Magic card. Believe it or not, souping up Triskelion is strong.
All right, so we are going to go over to the Ben Nikolich match in just a second, where he's facing off against Sam Lawrence. Ben down a game right now with Jeskai Control against Amulet Titan. It's not a great matchup for him.
No, but just the